delight the customer.
Spending time on your customers.
Focus on the customer.
Want success? Model the best. Hi, it's Evan Carmichael, and this channel was created to help you overcome the #1 challenge that is holding you back, a lack of belief in yourself. You watch these videos because you know there's something greater inside you too. You have Michael Jordan level talent at something. So today, let's learn one of the most common rules that successful people follow: focus on customers.
This is a huge mistake that people make in marketing, that so many newsletters are me. What am I thinking? Like, come look at me. Hey, I'm at an event. Hey, buy my shit. And whenever we sit and write the newsletter, we're thinking about what is the most valuable thing because somebody has actually invited us into their inbox. And that is a critical question in marketing that most people are not asking themselves. They're spamming people and they're doing only shit that's about them. And they're not thinking about, well, why does somebody subscribe to me? And when we write that newsletter, and it's why it is so incredibly successful and why people love it, we're always thinking about, does this interest or help or entertain the person that's reading it? And anytime that it turns out to be too much of us talking about us, somebody on the team catches it, thank God. Because there's nothing more annoying than having somebody go on and on and on about all the cool shit they're doing versus thinking about what are some interesting hacks and links and cool things that we can introduce people to that might improve their work or their life.
Henry Ford, as you may know, failed twice before he started the Ford Motor Company in 1903. I mean, the test isn't whether you get the greatest business idea in the world the first time out. The test is whether you keep learning as you go along what your strengths are and what you can do for your customers, what you can bring especially to the party. And to do that, you need a genuine desire day in, day out to delight the customer. I've never seen a business, and I've seen a lot of businesses, but I've never seen one that delights the customer that doesn't succeed. I mean, what you want is that customer the next day when they think, do I want to rent a car or do I want to buy some furniture? What goes through their mind? It's the place where they've had a great experience. I don't know what I paid for this type. Actually, probably if somebody gave it to me, but for the purposes of this speech, I will say I have no idea. But or the shirt I'm wearing, or this. But I do know. I will remember how I was treated when I bought it. I mean, you long forget about the price, but you never forget whether you had a good experience or a poor experience with the purchase experience.
Spending time on your customers. Spend time on your people, on your own team. Don't spend time on your investors. Don't spend time on your competitors. When you look at the people you want to serve, when you look at the people you work together, if they're happy, you will win. That's very simple.
The secret sauce of Amazon, where there are several principles at Amazon, but the #1 thing that has made us successful by far is obsessive, compulsive focus on the customer as opposed to obsession over the competitor. And I talk so often to other CEOs and some other CEOs and also founders and entrepreneurs, and I can tell that even though they're talking about customers, they're really focusing on competitors. And it is a huge advantage to any company if you can stay focused on your customer instead of your competitor.
Also, if you want to have more confidence, check out my 254 series. They're free. The links to join are in the description below.
The people who do the model should believe in the model, and I believe what I do.
It's important to associate with people that are better than yourself.
If you're doing work that you love, you're more likely to follow through. You're more likely to do it because it doesn't feel like work, because you love doing it.
I think you need to be your customer's chief goal officer. I think if you want to win in business, you have to understand your customers. You become their chief goal officer. If you want to accomplish your goals, The best way to get there is help your customers accomplish their goals. If you're helping them, you're solving problems, guess what? You're gonna make money. They're gonna pay you to do it. Now you have to combine what they want, right? You're the chief goal officer. This is what they want, and combine it with what you love doing. Can you help them solve that problem? Are you the person to solve it, or do you want to refer somebody else off to them to solve that problem? When you can mix those things together, the thing you absolutely love doing with what the customer so desperately wants, that's when you start to win.
In 2001, it snowed in New Jersey on December 23rd, which was one of the busiest days of the year. Typically, December 23rd is the busiest day of the year in a liquor store. And a woman called us, we just started shipping, and her case of Beringer White Zinfandel wasn't delivered. First of all, I appreciate the people that know what Beringer White Zin is, good job. The entire case, by the way, 15-pack, the entire 15-pack case cost $45. We're doing about $40,000 an hour in the store. She calls. I find out about it. Somehow it was buzzing because I was on the floor selling. I am the premier salesman on the floor, as you can imagine. I find out about it, and we're debating what to do. She needs it for her Christmas dinner. I grab the case, throw it in my car, and drive to Bergen County to deliver it. It takes me 2.5 hours to complete the whole thing. The woman was 194 years old. We didn't have a lot of lifetime value on the back end there. She looked like Yoda. And the best part was, I delivered it, all pumped with myself, and she said, great, and closed the door. Awesome. Everybody, especially my dad, who was pissed that I left because all the customers that came in asking for me or that I could have sold, everybody was baffled. I can't tell you what the ROI of driving through the snow in my car to deliver a case of $45 pink shit to a woman that looked like Yoda was. But I can tell you this, over the next 2 to 3 years, that story became the foundation of how we treated every single customer. It became our competitive edge. And those are the things that matter to me. I love black and white data. I'm obsessed with it. The day when the nerd beat me, I understood that the nerds beat me. And I respect the living out of data, conversion funnels, all that shit. But I'm telling you right now that there are way too many running businesses today with this, and not enough people running businesses with this. And again, I swear on my life, I am not Mother Teresa, and I far from run my business just on this. But I'm telling you right now, the reason I amassed my following, the reason why I continue to retain it, is because my percentage of this far outweighs every in this room. I mean it. That's how I feel, and that's how I try to roll every day. And I promise you, if you are able to figure out how to afford the allocation of this in your business more, your long-term value will be dramatically higher. Your long-term business success will be dramatically higher. Your grandparents, your great-grandparents built businesses based on this. It's how we built the whole thing. We got really lean and mean when we went to the suburbs and big box stores, and all we cared about was dollars, and it's great. And the data matters, and continue to use it, and use this tool and understand it. But I'm asking you one final thing. When you go home, if this talk meant anything, and by the way, I fundamentally believe only 3 of you are gonna act on this talk. I do, because what I talk about is ridiculously hard and massively frustrating and takes forever. You know, like everything that's good in life. If you do anything because of this keynote, there's only one thing I ask you to do, because as zenny as I got, I'm a practical. Here's what I want from you. When you go home, look yourself in the mirror and audit everything you and your business do. I promise you that if you audit from top to bottom of expenses and effort and time and energy and payroll and all that shit, if you audit all of it, even the best of us, even the InBevs, which is the company that bought Budweiser, they built their whole business on like printing on both sides of the paper and all that horse shit. Even the most efficient ones of us are doing 20% dumb shit. If you take that 8%, that 13%, that 16% of dumb shit that you're doing, paying that person that's not bringing any cultural value to your business, having that contract that you've just been in and you just renew because you're busy as f, whatever the f you're doing, if you take any piece of that percentage and you apply it to giving a f about your customer, it will be better for your business going forward, because for the first time since we all lived in small towns where your reputation was the complete backbone of how you did business, for the first time, because technology is bringing us back together in a small town, for the first time, being good and caring and following up matters. It matters. How about doing something random act of kindness for a current customer, not the ones that unsubscribed or left? You know how you always do nice shit when they're going? How about while you've got them? Reallocate your thought process, I'm telling you, because the tools that is the umbrella of this event are getting so good, so good. You know what that means? All that shit's about to become a commodity. Emotional EQ is going to dominate business over the next decade, and I implore you to start paying attention. And oh, by the way, I'll leave you with this. You know what the best part is? It feels good. Thank you.
We think it's incredibly important to be connected to the players. It has to guide everything we do. Every decision that we make, has to start with the player philosophy, and then we sort of work backwards from there. And we don't always get it right, but the closer we are with the community, the more we'll understand it. Like, some of my favorite moments are meeting players, up close and personal at the trade shows that we're at, the esports events that we're at. We've had so many phenomenal experiences getting to know our players, and I think that's invaluable. I mean, it's a phenomenal resource for us as developers to get that kind of feedback.
There was a little bit of worry about your valuation, how it seemed like you might be IPOing at a price under the valuation you were at a few years ago, which is reportedly $10 billion.
We're really proud of the business we've built, and one thing I tell the team is, get used to the stock going up and down. This will be a normal everyday occurrence, and so, whatever the price is today, it'll be something different tomorrow. So that's outside of our control. So what I really make sure that the team stays focused on is that our customers don't really care if we're public or private. They just want a great experience, and they're the ones who are at the foundation of the business we're building. So we need to stay focused on keeping our customers happy and building the best products.
Treat people at the end of the relationship like it's the beginning, and there won't be an end. And that's not just your intimate relationship. What if your customers, what if you fell in love with your customers, with your clients, more than your product, more than your company? If your entire life was about meeting their needs, if you would do what for your customers and clients, you would do what? If you love your customers and clients, you do anything, guess what? They're gonna love you. But most people love their customers and clients as long as they buy from them, do what they want, respond to them. And when they don't, they go, that's the end. You want clients for life, not just customers? Fall in love with them. It's a different focus, isn't it? It's a different meaning. And that creates a different life because you make decisions differently from that place.
And brands are so important, and that's one thing at the company we're making a big investment in of building our brands, but building it based on substance, starting with having great cars, trucks, and crossovers, starting with having a good relationship when you interact with the company, when you interact with our dealers, because they're our face of the company. And it's every one of the things in our value of customer is every interaction matters. And if you really put the customer at the center and you look at, because what I find with most customers, I mean, a car, truck, or crossover has about 30,000 parts that are integrated with millions and millions of lines of software. And we have rigorous validation processes, and they're improving as we really, work to be industry leaders in having a systems approach to how we put cars on the road. But if something happens, a customer, wants you to care, wants you to listen, wants you to care, and would like you to fix it. And it's really that easy. If you listen, you care, and you fix it, they will be your best advocate. One of the stories I tell is in the early days of the ignition switch, one of the things we said, we had done extensive testing. We knew the vehicles were safe to drive if you just used the key or a key with just a ring. But we said to customers, if you are uncomfortable, we will give you a loaner. And so in the early days, getting that situated where communicating to all of our dealers, making sure they knew, and getting the loaners. I had a customer who was very upset, said, you said I could get a loaner. I went to my dealer. They said they don't have one, and so he sent me a note saying, it was kind of personal. It was like, and I hate you, and I'm never going to buy a General Motors product again. It wasn't exactly that, but that was the tone. And so it was, of course, it was on a Friday afternoon, and I went, okay. And so I called my head of customer service. And I sent a note back to him because other than email, I didn't know how to get a hold of him. I said, could I call you? Would you be willing to share your phone number, and could I give you a call? So a minute or two later, I get the phone number. I pick up the phone. I call him. I listen. And I said, you know what? It's early days in getting loaners. I'm sure there was a misunderstanding. Would you give me a chance to work on this? And I immediately called Alicia Buller-Davis, our head of customer care at that time. And by the next morning, we had a car for him. And the next week, I got this note. I can't believe you cared. I can't believe you talked to me, and I can't believe the next day I had a loaner. And so, said, this is a company I want to be associated with. And so, again, it's every interaction does matter, and I think doing the right things, putting technologically leading vehicles and services and providing that value to customers, but then if something happens, dealing with it and standing up, I think that's the only way to build.
Now I have a special bonus clip from Peter Thiel on how to understand what customers want that I think you're going to enjoy. But before that, it's time for the 3-point landing questions. Let's go from just watching a video to taking action. Here we go. Question number 1. How can you better love your customers? Number 2, what's one small thing you can do today to make a customer feel important? And number 3, how can you make delighting customers a part of your daily routine? And if you're gonna take some immediate action after watching this video, give me a #believe down in the comments as well.
This is sort of like the Steve Jobs question. Do you think you should focus on making something that you believe people want or something that you want?
I definitely think I would focus it should be on something that people want. But I think the nuance on this is you shouldn't, there's always a question whether you're making the judgment or you're taking some survey of people to make the judgment. And so I'm very much in the Steve Jobs camp of you want to have like this ESP link to the population at large and understand what they want better than they understand themselves. And I take the view that people don't generally know what they want. And so if you ask them surveys, if you do market studies, you will not actually get the right answer. And so there is something about sort of this inspired, figuring out a very inspired intuition about what the world as a whole wants.
If you want to learn how to develop an insane work ethic, check out the video right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.
You deserve what you get in life by working hard.
I love hard work.
Hard work.